it? All the time. Okay. Have you checked what is the title today of the sermon? Yeah, the importance of intelligence for Christians. So far, majority of our sermons in church or for Christian gathering, I think it's about the importance of spirituality. But balance is always critical to Christians. So today, I want to talk with you about the importance of intelligence for Christians. Of course, next time, God willing, I want to share with you also the importance of emotion for Christians as well. I already shared with you this funny story before. In the Philippines, there is one young man who is around 20s. The time, just like my two sons, great concern about girls, right, in 20s. And then he rode in jeepney, which is the most popular transportation in the Philippines. The structure of jeepney is that inside there are two lines, two seats. So you can sit together here, 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 and then opposite side here, here, here. And then this jeepney sometimes run in not paved road. So you should go like this, or you should go like this. And then when this young man sit in the chair, when you look at beside, oh sorry, there is a very ugly girl sitting there. So he doesn't want to be like this. But unfortunately it happened. So the jeepney go like this. So he has to, continually to go to this ugly girl, and then he prayed, Lord, let me not enter the temptation. So he prayed, spiritually, seems to be. And then this girl get down. And then next stop, oh, such a beautiful girl sit this part. So he hoped he can be like this. And it happened really, thanks God. And he prayed, the Lord, I surrender everything into your mighty hand. So from this funny story, how Christians are wise enough to pray according to my own will using, the name of God. This is a very funny story. There is another funny story to happen to young Korean woman who is looking for her husband. Nowadays, many Koreans age to marry is postponed. So even though you are middle of 30, still you are young in Korea. And then this young Korean, actually, anyway, 20s or 30s, okay. She had very difficult times to meet her real husband. She met many young men, but it was not. So she heard a lot. And then this time she was introduced such a wonderful brother. But she was not confident about this brother, whether this one is real one, right person or not. So she prayed, and then also she thought, and then she got advices from friends, but she still didn't get the answer. So she decided, okay, I'm a Christian, so I'll get the answer from the Bible. But she doesn't know how to get the answer from the Bible. So after she prayed hard, Lord, you know how much I'm desperate to meet my real husband. I have to marry this year. So after I pray hard, I just open the Bible, and then if I put some word, then I will understand this is your answer. So she prayed hard, and then she really did it. And then open the Bible, she put the one particular verse. The verse goes like this. The fact is, you have had 5 husbands, and the man you now have is not your husband. What happened? Our Lord Jesus, the Spirit is illogical. Similar thing happened to another Korean young man. Recently, we are so sorry to our young people who are jobless. There are a lot of people losing their job. So this young man also struggling with his job. And then finally wonderful job was given to this one was Christian young man. And then the salary is good, the job is light, the distance from the working place and house is everything wonderful. One problem is that he has to work on Sunday as well. So he had a lot of struggling. Oh, this very difficult to find this kind of wonderful job to me. But only I have to work on Sunday. So he couldn't be sure to accept this job or not. So again, he did the same thing, just like woman a while ago. And then after he prayed hard, he opened the Bible and then he put one verse. Lord, whatever you speak through this verb, I will obey you. I promise I'll obey you. And then he said, this verse goes like this. So Judas threw the money into the temple and left. Then he went away and hanged himself. You see, this kind of funny story is just funny story. Similar, things, similar principles go on to many Christians, because they don't know what is spirituality, what is intelligence, or lack of discernment. Our God is not only Redeemer, but also Creator. That's why we might have some common ground even with unbelievers, in terms of general blessings, in terms of intelligence, in terms of emotion. When one person was converted, they don't know what to do, how they have to behave here, because now they're on the way to change their worldview. So I have to cut all the secular music, secular stories, secular books, secular friends, everything I have to cut, or I have to accept somehow. They don't know. Of course, for spiritual realm, you have to cut, but there are some common ground regarding, general blessings. So after I realized about this important realm, I make time willingly to watch some secular drama, watch some secular, of course not open, but also read some, secular books, so that we can understand the person whom we are going to share the gospel. So we are called to be the light and salt in the world, but especially in the context of Korea, we have very strong historical base about Confucianism, even Buddhism. That's why some Christians want to avoid from the church living in some remote place where sins or simple behaviors or simple influence doesn't contaminate them. So some Christians really want to not just a busy short leader like a prayer mountain, not like that, but they really want a remote place to be not contaminated, influenced by Buddhism. So Christians gather together. So it's like rather than to be light and salt in the world, light and salt gather together, regardless of what is going on outside. Because I have already salvation. If Jesus comes, I must be called, and then I might be the part of the heaven. I don't care outside what is going on, because I might be contaminated, something like that. So many chaos go on. Actually, not this church. In the previous church, I was also doing ministry for Filipino migrant workers and preached the word of God in English. And then in the previous church was very big Korean church. So many Koreans wondered how Esther can preach in English. And then there is some secret, because they ask, how did you study English? And then I said, okay, I have some secret that they listen to their ear. Wow, what is the secret? Let us know. Because for Korean, we studied for a long time. Yeah? Already a long time ago, Korean government started to introduce English subject in elementary. Even some, very smart parents teach their children in pre-elementary school. And then elementary, middle school, high school, and then even college. And then nowadays a little different, but still many Koreans, if natives, English speakers come, they just go, take another way, because they don't want to talk with them to show their ugly English ability. So for Korean people, almost all Korean, have some burden about English. And then for me, in 1983, since I got the calling from God to be like a Bible teacher, I realized that I have to learn English. I have to, learn how to speak English. And I pray hard, and I always think about, but I couldn't speak English. So one day I thought, I already married, I already have children. So I thought to myself, what is going on? I lived in the Philippines, but I couldn't focus on English because I was so sick, and just did what I had to do as a missionary. And in England, I had a second child there in London. So I have to take care of my son. Oh my goodness. And then I already came back to Korea. I lost all the chances to study English. So in Korea, it was Samuel, when Samuel was around, when Samuel was born, I realized that maybe God must call me out again to share the gospel. So while I raised the second child, he was born in 1997. If I didn't study at home in this chance, raising children, at the same time study English, I might be very much regret. So one day I realized my secret is that I shared my secret with many Koreans. I prayed for a long time for my English. I concerned about English for a long time. I couldn't speak English. So, I understand. What is your secret? I realized, and then they listened. I didn't study English. I realized that. And then why it could be the secret? No, it is a great realization for me. Since I realized about this ignorance, I start to study English really hard. Really hard. You know, my major is not English. My major is food and nutrition, far from English. So I studied day and night, raising children, take care of the full-time, as a wife, and also outside some, ministry, something. This is my secret. Study. Some Christians still going on. I hear this similar story so open nowadays. Many Christian, people who have job, sometimes they have a promoting exam, right? And then they pray hard. But if they fail to pass that promoting exam, they complain God. Oh Lord, why you made me to fail this exam? Even some young men also, why Lord, I pray hard, and then why you fail me to enter the college? And then they are hurt by God. Is it correct? Why they fail in their promoting exam? Why they fail to enter the college? Because they didn't study. Because of this kind of anti-intellectualism, unbelievers treat Christians ugly. Because they know if they do not study, they fail. If they do not study English, they cannot speak English. And then by misconception of grace, many Christians are lazy. And then they are not yet ready to pay enough payment to make every effort as much as non-Christians do. This is what I learned starting from England life. Encountering so many unbelieving, young men. In England, there are so many, people from so many different countries. Also, some young Koreans. Whenever I meet different kind of people, I realize that. That's why I have I have some room in my head to open to hear from unbelievers, because I learn a lot from them, even so far. Before, frankly, I ignored the unbelievers. You don't know Jesus Christ. You don't know eternal life. You don't know about spiritual world. That's why you must listen to me. Before I ignored non-Christians. But once when I realized this one and become humble enough to hear to unbelievers, I learned a lot. So this kind of testimony is very dangerous. As you know, I was a full-time minister for campus ministry right before, and then it happened also when I was college students as well. For example, in parachurch there are a lot of, even local church for young people, there are a lot of gatherings, especially for sharing the gospel, tributing some track or something. There are wonderful church gathering activities, and then when young college students join this gathering, but next week is, for example, like final exam, and then they spend whole time to do mission work, ministry, and then after they come back at night, oh my goodness, I'm not prepared for next week final exam. And then what do? They pray hard. Lord, you know how I spend my time for you, for your kingdom. Please help me. Now I'm going to study for about 2 to 3 hours. Please, Lord, show me the problem in the exam paper, what I exactly did, right? And then they study hard. Then what happened? wow, God answered to my prayer. The problem happened in my exam, so I got A. And then they, happy to share this testimony in the church. And then people approach, wow, God answered. Dangerous testimony. Dangerous testimony. Because God is not only Redeemer, but Creator. God gave us reason. God gave us intelligence. Even though in any kind of competition, whatever kind of competition, if you do not practice enough, if you are not prepared enough, but pray hard, your parents, your church friends, pray in fast, and then this unbeliever, just practice, just prepared a lot, never pray to God, who gonna be the winner? According to the creation order, according to our Redeemer's order, this person is the winner. But we expect, Lord, you are so good. God is so good while ago. That's why even though I make a little less, effort, please let me enjoy such a greater blessing. Because through this, reveal your glory. We have to be very careful about this one. And then do not encourage your young people, your Christians in this way. But still, it is going on in so many churches all over the world. Even in this chance, I want to share with you about dream. Many Korean our Korean church also based like our traditional religion, not only Confucianism, Buddhism. So still this kind of influences seems to go on. So many people still follow the dream. But let me tell you first, I accept God is free to use dream, even nowadays. And also what kind of signs and miracles, yes, I accept. I myself watch it because since my childhood, I joined so many Christian gatherings. I saw some kind of miracles by the hand of God through my own eyes. But we have to be also very careful about dream. For example, there is one of my friend who is a veteran missionary in some certain country. Some years ago, whenever we talk through the phone, so often she mentioned about dream. It bothers me. So I gradually, smoothly point about her danger. Hey, listen, I understand God is free enough to use dream. But we should be careful. And then she said, no, Esther, God's so open, speak to me through my dream. And then many people ask me to pray for them because through my dream, God answered for them. That's why many people ask me for intercession prayer. So I said, be careful. But Esther, what about the Joseph? Joseph is the man of dream. So I said, imagine when Joseph was living, there is no Bible. So dream was one of very important means. What about prophets? Through dream, through vision, God delivered oracles. Even in ancient time, there are many dreams. And also 2,000 years, church history, especially like when persecution was very severe, like a China context or Muslim context or even some very limited places, God can use dream. But if we are access to the Bible, the Holy Spirit want to talk to us through the Bible because the Bible, the Word of God was completed. And then so many blood has been paid to protect, to transform this Bible to us. So rather you pay attention to your dream, it could be true, but you could be also deceived by Satan. While instead of you pay attention, your dream, but why don't you open the Bible and then read the Bible and you read the verses which is relative each other in the Bible because the Bible interprets each other. It is one of the important principles of reformers, isn't it? So rather than you pay attention, you value your own dream, why don't you pay attention more to read, more to study, more to read also another Christian books or commentary to help you to interpret the Bible. So gradually she stopped. And there is another Korean lady also whole day, whole year, she's dream. So she also was corrected, and then she doesn't seldom speak about dream. Maybe she's more careful maybe before me. Okay? God gave us this Bible, and then Holy Spirit never ever work against the Bible. We don't need additional revelation. It is enough, just enough. Okay? So we have to pay attention more to the Bible. But of course, as a leader of church, as a leader of different kind of situation, we may open some possibility about special methodology to God. But we have to have sense of discernment. We have to discern. So today, let us look at the story of Apostle Paul. As you know, Apostle Paul wrote 13 epistles in the Bible, and then the book of Hebrews still debate is going on. It's like Apostle Paul's type or no, it seems to be one of disciple Apostle Paul. So anyway, we set aside Hebrews, and then 13 epistles were written by Paul. And then this 2 Timothy is the last epistle, as you know, right before his martyrdom, he wrote this one. And then here we smell such a very thick humanity of Apostle Paul. Apostle Paul is greatest figure. Maybe no one, say that among our Christian Bible time or church time. So even some people say, Apostle Paul is like a second Jesus. This kind of great figure in this today's passage is just a mere, very weak person. You see? Let's read again. Do your best, he said to Timothy, to his spiritual favorite son, Timothy, do your best to come to me quickly. Apostle Paul, who is now in the prison and then going to be martyred, and then winter is coming, he's so lonely. For Demas, because he loved this world, has deserted me and has gone to Thessalonica. Crescens has gone to Galatia, and Titus to Dalmatia. Only Luke is with me. Get Mark and bring him with you, because he's helpful to me in my ministry. Send Tychicus to Ephesus. When you come, bring until here, verse 12. In this short letter, Apostle Paul is asking three things. He's lonely. He needs spiritual, emotional support. So he missed so much his friend. But if you jump down to look at verse 16, at my first defense, no one came to my support, but everyone deserted me. Out of any Roman church members, no one accepted to be witness or support Paul in the court. He's right before going back to the Lord. He was extremely lonely. So some people might, condemn if somebody responds like that. You are the man of faith, and then you can pray, and then why you need people? He doesn't understand who is a human being. Even in the funeral, some people say, your father or your husband or your lovely people went back to the Lord, so do not be sad. And then some Christians really do not cry. Is it normal, people? If we understand the creational world, how we are not sad. We are same exactly with general people. Very sad, weeping, wailing when you lost our loved one. This is a very natural response. Apostle Paul is so much missing, desperately missing his friends in the midst of his loneliness. Everybody, almost everybody, abandoned him. And then he asked the second one in verse 13. When you come, bring me the cloak that I left with Carpus at Troas. Because the winter is coming, at the prison, like America and other, even Korea, prison is like a small palace to some people. So some people willingly commit then they can solve the problem of food, the problem of residence, the problem of heat and cold, no problem. So prison is very nice. But at the time of Paul, prison is terrible. Nothing, even food. If friend or relative doesn't provide food, the people must starving to die. Very ugly, awkward situation. And then winter is coming, very cold. That's why Apostle Paul asked, warm clothes, which I left in some place. This is second asking. Third one, he asked, and my scrolls, especially the parchment. In short word, bring me books. So scholars are debating, right? Scholars like to spend time. What kind of books exactly? It is not necessary what kind of book exactly. Many scholars anyway say this might be Old Testament because at the time there is no NT complete yet. Because Apostle Paul himself is writing NT. So anyway, it might be Scripture, Hebrew Bible, or Greek Bible, or whatever books. You see, Apostle Paul wants to read right before his death. What kind of implication is here? And then here is in church history. There are very similar story introduced about William Tyndale in 15th century. You know who is William Tyndale? He was very much influenced by that I suddenly forgot the people, and then he's the one who interpret the Bible into English. And then 70% of King James Bible was influenced by Tyndale's English Bible. And then his martyrdom also is coming. History tells us he was martyred through burning his body, because at the time it was burning people. Oh my God, was one of popular methodology to kill people. What was his sin? Because he translated the Word of God into English. So just a few weeks left to him, and then William Tyndale wrote one letter to his higher officers who have authority. It's very similar story with Paul, who is in the prison. And then the time was getting cold and cold. He wrote, if I have to stay until the winter comes, then please grant the great grace to send me warm hat of my own, also warm clothes of my own. My head is so painful because of too much cold. So please let me enjoy that. But on top of that, please send me the Hebrew Bible and the Hebrew grammar book and the vocabulary book. These two stories very similar. What implies to us? Why they need books? Grammar book? I know you hate Hebrew grammar, right? Greek grammar. And then vocabulary. He already interpreted the Bible into English. He has done. And why he need Hebrew Bible, Hebrew grammar book, and vocabulary book. And Apostle Paul also asked to bring the books. Book is desperately important to Christians. Not only the Bible. Christians is the one those people who are studying hard. Do not misunderstand the concept of grace. Grace include reading and studying hard. Why our students, today many of our father students ask to pray for their, even our sisters, for their, child, and parents who are very sick. Why they have to do this kind of sacrifice to study hard, far from their homeland? Because this is worthy. This is worthy. If they're even, some people say, theology is not necessary. Why you have to study hard? Just read hard, read the Bible hard, and pray hard, and have fellowship with people. That's enough, is it? You see, even not to mention the Old Testament time, but in the early church time, Gnostics, how much one of representative cult to try to destroy the gospel of Jesus, gospel of Paul, Gnostics. So many, even nowadays, so many similar but very difficult to discern, doctrines and teachings has been killing, has been harmful for church. So theology is like a wall to protect church, to protect. That's why reformers are ready to die. So many people shed the blood to deliver this Bible as well as to keep and also set up and was developed and make it clear the theology. And then here let me emphasize the importance of books from creative perspective as well. Because you see, not necessarily about Jesus or not necessarily about spiritual salvation. Many people are saved just by reading a lot of books. A lot of books. I'm going to share with you around 2 Korean who are from creational sense, not spiritual sense. One person is already supposed to be dead because of his sickness. Since his college life, his kidney didn't work very well, and then after around 20 years, finally developed to chronic kidney failure. So if he doesn't treat very well, then he will die. So one of his sister donate one kidney. But as you know, if you transplant the kidney, you have to eat for whole life, the special medicine which reduce your immunization system for whole life. But because of this medicine, your immunization down, and finally, because of that medicine, people die. But if you do not eat, then our immunization system, attacked this strange one. Even though this is kidney, but it came from other body. So this person, I'm going to show you in the video, must die. And then this Korean video, so let me tell you just briefly in English. There is one very authoritative Korean doctor who has been transplanting the kidneys, thousands of people, around 3,000 people, at more than 40 years. And then he was so upset because there is one Korean man who never take any medicine, but still he's very healthy. So according to his experience, according to his knowledge, he couldn't understand it. But this person saved. This is doctor. Later on, you're gonna see. The main person saved his life because he read around 300 books regarding health, physical health. He read books. He didn't read books. He must dead person right now. This is the power of books. So let's see just around 5 minutes something, and then I will explain again. They are searching the document, the record of document, because this doctor was so upset, couldn't believe it. This is normal kidney. That is a transplant kidney. The immunization system attack. That's why they have to take the medicine. If people doesn't take the medicine, the kidney must be nothing, ruined. In 1981, he transplanted the kidney to this patient. So I want to check what is his real situation because I cannot believe this one. It's 6 a.m. in the mountain. He said, according to Korean medicine books, eating food well is more important than medicine, and then working or walking is more important than eating good food. He's 59, now more than 60. He's eating just one meal a day, just one meal a day, working whole day.
한고랑 달더니 모종을 심습니다. 가지는요. 직전에 잠깐인 줄 알았더니 해가 중천에 떠서 끝날 줄을 모릅니다.
He's working from early morning until 3 p.m. eating nothing.
또 반석이 갑니다. 한나절이 가도록 하고 그냥 잠시 쉴 생각을 합니다. 이 맞으세요?
Are you not tired? It's okay, he said. Working, it is not working, but practice. It is 2 p.m. He's planning corn. It's 3 p.m. He's eating first meal. It's 된장찌개, not meat at all.
아침인지 점심인지 아무튼 이날의 첫 밥상이 차려집니다.
This two kimchi, 된장찌개 rice, brown rice. That's all.
그렇게 일을 해놓고 힘쓰는데 좋다는 고기 반찬 하나 없습니다.
No meat at all.
해븐 씨에겐 이것만으로 진수성찬입니다.
This meal is so delicious, he said. If your body is empty, anything is so delicious. It is a festival of the creation.
그날 그가 먹은 밥은 이 한 끼가 전부였습니다. 지난 20년 동안 매일 그랬답니다.
For 20 years, he eat only one meal. If you eat 3 meals in a day, you maltreat your body.
먹고 나면 먹은 만큼 또 움직입니다. 먹기는 많이 먹고 움직이지 않는 우리들과는
He is small, but he work whole day. It's very simple to be healthy, just the natural food. You are not so much COVID. And then he write every day diary for food, what food he eat. Lunch, 1 apple, 1 meal. Dinner is just tea. Only 1 meal, 1 apple or 2 sweet potatoes and 1 tea, that's all. Look delicious? Eating makes your body. I did my best to be closer to the nature. Yeah, that's all. Thank you. So still he is very healthy, even runs a healthy center for so many cancer patients, so many incurable patients. And another woman, I'm not going to show because of time, there is one Korean lady who sells sushi. You know what is sushi? Japanese food, white rice and with the raw fish. Actually, because of her house is so extremely poor, she was able to study until only middle school. And then since high school, she came up to Seoul and then she worked, day work and then night study. But finally, anyway, she studied in Japan and she studied in Paris for about design. And then when she was 40, she raised her business, but she got huge, debt. So for 2 years, she even thought about, suiciding or many negative things. And then she got fat because for 2 years and suffered from very deep depression, something. But when she was 40, finally she got up. And then now she runs more than 700 sushi shops in all over the world, all over the Europe, centering Paris. And then she earned $500 million last in 2017. Then each year, around 30% is grow. You know. And then she's not Christian. And then what is her secret? While she was, 2 years, she was so depressed, and then she started to raise her business. What she did first is that to read books, 100 books a year, each year so far. Even after she became so successful businesswoman, she enjoyed the so-called Sabbath year with her family for 13 months. And then for 13 months, she prepared around 100 books. While I have Sabbath year, I will read these 100 books. And then she got advice from so different kind of friends. So she prepared 100 books, enjoying yacht, the special boat, yacht. She traveled all over the world, reading more than 100 books. And then each year, and then she also spent huge money for her, company people, Europeans and whatever, huge the library, so that the company people can enjoy the books. If you read 100 books a year, you should read 2 to 3 books a week. But as you know, she's very, very, very busy. She's mom. Every day she spend whatever kind of happens, she spend 1 hour with her kids, having one kid. This like this. The power of books is very, very important. You know what is the historical background, the Ivy League colleges in America, like, Stanford, Harvard, Yale. The Puritans, when they moved to America, they realized that, we have to educate our pastors to not only for Bible, but also for secular subjects. So they start that Ivy League colleges. So they educate their pastors with different kind of secular subjects. But now, of course, liberal theology occupied all those things. Even John Wesley, who is John Wesley, the founder of Methodist. Imagine if the Reese, the daughter of May, read Greek Bible fluently. This is what John did, because his mother, Susan Wesley, was fluent for Greek, Latin, and French. And then John Wesley and then his others, many brothers and sisters, if they finish their toddler's work, if they start to speak, then they learn how to read, and then they read the Greek Bible. Little boys, little girls read the Greek Bible. How about our students and me? How much you can read Greek Bible while a little boy and girl read. That's why God used him. Imagine Paul and Peter. Peter said in one verse, you should be very careful what our brother Paul said. Do not try to interpret by verse, because this is very difficult. Of course, God used what kind of people he can use. But God used much more Paul than Peter. How about Augustine? What about Calvin? What about Martin Luther? What about Jonathan Edwards? What about Spalding? What about Lloyd Jones? If we want to be used, we have to develop our intelligence, especially read the books. Students, still I have 2 to 3 papers. Still I have assignments. Because this is just I finished semester. It is all excuse. Same, warning to me, to myself. We have to set aside some time to read. We have books anyway in our church. And then I see seldom our members borrow the books. Read the Bible and then pray, and then even fast is enough. And then got your degrees enough. It's not. This is summer vacation. Yes. Yeah, I know you must have another, so many busy schedules. But what about books? If you do not read, God's original plan to use this much, but he must make it down because of our less of preparation. So for the rest of our life, just like Apostle Paul did, what about even though we die tomorrow? Of course, pray, meditate the Word of God, but books, intelligence, so that we can think in balance, not only just spiritual. So let me close with just this. Over the last 30 years, I developed 5 T's. Because while I was wondering, as a college student, as a full-time minister, as a missionary, I wondered so long time, and I developed these 5 T's. Spirituality, yeah, no doubt, most important and the first. But when I observe my seniors, I realized that if some of them, many of them do not develop their professionality, then their limitation came earlier in their life. No one asked them to preach. No one asked them to come and help them because there is no professionality. And then when I observe those who have spirituality and professionality, still some of them is not so much so-called successful compared to their own power or ability. Why? What happened? When I analyze their life, that lack of sociality, lack of communication ability. They don't know how to communicate with world, with their fellow people, with their congregation. And after that, when I observe again, it happened, over the last 30 years. They have 3: spirituality, professionality, communication ability. Still, some of them is not enough successful compared to their own ability. I look up them so much. But what? Humility. We have to be very careful to be humble enough. If there is no humility, so many things happen. It's nothing. It could be nothing. So spirituality, professionality, communication ability, humility, and finally the love can combine all together. So when I when I decide something, I always think about this one, in balance. So may the Lord bless us to think about the importance of intelligence together with the spirituality. Let's pray.